Hello, welcome everybody. So this webinar is organized by Pune River Revival, which we call as PRR. We are a group of different organizations and individuals who are mainly working for rivers in Pune, mainly the rights of rivers in Pune. So we want rivers to be clean, natural, flowing, and pollution free. So this is our main purpose, and because of this, we have also questioned the big ambitious project, which is for almost 5,000 crores, which is called as Pune Riverfront Development. So this project is not really going to clean any river water. This project is mainly to construct embankments on both the sides of the river, and which is going to be 44 kilometers long. That means if you consider both the banks, it's going to be 88 kilometers. And for that, they are also going to cut thousands of trees. And that is why we have questioned that project. So this is what we mainly do. And because of the rivers and rights of rivers, we are also reaching out to many people. We are conducting these webinars so that people get educated. They understand what the condition of the rivers is, and what this current proposal and the ongoing project is. And we also want to let people know that we have provided alternatives to this approach, which is going to be sustainable, where there will be rich biodiversity, there will be a lot of greenery, fish, and birds. And one of the alternatives is provided by Ketaki and her team. So I'm not going to take more time. So I just want to let you know that we have these webinars every Wednesday. If you have missed any of the previous webinars, then they are there on our YouTube channel. You can go to YouTube and search Pune River Revival. And you can see all our previous webinars, so you understand better what we are doing and what we stand for. So over to you, Ketaki. You could introduce yourself first a bit, and then we can start with the topic. You're mute.
Yeah, sure. So thank you, Prajakta. It's pleasure to be here again on this platform. And as Prajakta introduced very rightly, that we are here just to create some kind of awareness related to river conservation and what actual ecological river conservation could be. And that's what we actually try to just promote here and create awareness about it, that we are also trying to provide some kind of alternative. So it's not that we are only saying or denying the current proposed riverfront development, but at the same time, there could be much more ecological ways, many more, wherein you actually combine both things. You can have development, and at the same time, you can integrate ecology, conserve biodiversity to a certain extent, even within the city. And that's what we've been doing this. And again, just to introduce myself, so yeah, so I have this ecological enterprise named oikos for Ecological Services. So me and my colleague Manasi Karandikar, so both of us, we founded oikos 22 years back, and we mainly work in ecological restoration and biodiversity conservation. So this year we just completed 22 years in this particular field, and our main motto is to maybe have do some kind of planning for private landowners. So actually people who buy land at countryside and just develop in their own way. So we just try and provide some kind of ecological alternative for them. And there is a methodology that we follow, like ecological assessment and ecological master planning, then very elaborate plantation planning by using native plants. We also have a nursery of native plants. So yes, so that's our main work. And also we are very much like core team member and faculty at Ecological Society. Many of you definitely would know about Ecological Society. We run one year program in natural resource management and sustainable development, and wherein I can see many of the names I can find familiar. Actually, it would be nice if if you could just put your video on so that I see you. Otherwise, it's quite boring to talk to screen. Thank you, Shailaja. Thank you, Jaydeep. Hi, Sandhya. Hi, Amit. Yeah, please. It would be really nice if all of you just could put it on so that it's better to talk to people. Thanks, Mukta. So yeah, so that's our main work, and as a part of this work itself, so we have been like collaborating with various organizations. Obviously, Jeevit Nadi is one of them, and oikos along with Jeevit Nadi, we conducted one study, and we did planning of 1 kilometer stretch of Mutha River near Vittalwadi, and we have also presented that alternative. So I think sometime during this one of the webinar, we can also elaborate that case study one more time, though we had done it, I think many months back, Shailaja. So I think maybe 2 years back. Yeah. So I think time to repeat it sometime. But so maybe we can do that some other time. But yeah, so coming to today's topic is about this New York case study, and I'm to like absolutely fascinated by this successful case study which is there in New York, and like an unimaginable thing which is happening in such a what you can say, very much metro city like New York. And this case study is all about water supply to New York. So how it is done, and right now half of the New York City is drinking water without any filtration plant, right? So that's something really mind-boggling, and you can't even believe that. So for that, I think we need to just look at the history, and we'll understand in detail what is the story of this New York is. So, as maybe many of you would know, that this New York was founded by this Dutch settlers, and at the southern tip of this Manhattan Island, and this happened back in 1600. So yeah, long back. And that time, obviously, water supply was only from wells and spring and some kind of little city collection pond was there. Then in 1770s, they started hauling water from nearby state, which is Brooklyn, which is just neighboring state. But obviously that water was also not sufficient. And that time you can imagine, because water used to be like, even population was very less. So water demand was very less, but slowly it started increasing. And the moment you have city, you have all safety measures, and uh, you need it to be in place. So, but what happened in 1776? Fire destroyed 1/4 of the city buildings, and that's how they felt the need to again get more and more water and have many reservoirs upstream. So even in 1832, there was big cholera epidemic. Obviously, that killed many people, and during that as well, and because of this groundwater contamination, again, city governance felt that you need to have some kind of different water supply system, which is little away, maybe in mountains, and then they had this again reservoirs upstream in watersheds, along with certain aqueducts, which would take water to the New York City. And obviously, then too, there was no question of any kind of filtration plant. There was just little mesh, solid mesh, which was filtering the solid waste, and with little chlorine treatment, they were drinking it. And that's what was happening. And everything was really fine for almost a century. Like in 1905, so New York City Board for Water Supply was established, and obviously population was increasing. So this city board suggested to now dam Catskill River. So Catskill is a river which is a tributary of Hudson. Means I'm not able to show you the map actually, but if you imagine New York, it's maybe southern tip, and northern side of New York has these two rivers which are meeting Hudson, and one is Catskill and another is Delaware. So both maybe watersheds were dammed to certain extent. And what they had, they didn't have like very huge dam, but maybe a series of little reservoirs. So there are, even right now, if you go on their website, you would find there are almost 15 to 20 little reservoirs which are supplying water to New York City. It's not one huge dam. So yeah, so by 1964, this Catskill and Delaware was supplying 90% of the water to New York, and also Croton. Croton is also a little neighboring watershed to New York. So there were 19 reservoirs, 3 lakes, and all of this was supplying 580 billion gallons of water entirely coming to the city by gravity, obviously, and just fluorine treatment, this big metal screen to catch dead fish, and that was fine almost through the 20th century, and this you can easily connect it to wilderness. So the till the time wilderness in the catchment was alive, this system was working very well. So what changed with the new millennium is very interesting. So tourism was taking off. So you can literally imagine maybe Pune city with respect to maybe Murshi, Parasgaon and Panchat catchment and projects like township like Lavasa and Ambi Valley and other maybe 1,000-acre projects coming up, farmhouse developers. And maybe they are putting up all their pollution into the river, then they are reaching Pune city. Though right now our scale is not that high, but obviously we might get there in future. So exactly that was the situation back then, and so tourism was taking off there. The ski resorts were started increasing. Golf resorts were getting established. Second homes, precisely. That's what we are experiencing in Pune right now. Means everyone is like literally striving very hard to have some kind of farmhouse plot in Murshi or Varasgaon or Panchet or anywhere. So obviously, because this demand was increasing, land use was to just cut down the original forest vegetation and maybe have some kind of agriculture or horticulture, or even for that matter, many times people just uproot the original native vegetation and plant it with completely just exotic, beautiful looking plants. That's it. They may not be really very functional from the ecosystem point of view. And again, late nine, so same situation was there over there in 1980s. So in 80s, obviously, just because now agriculture is increasing and this golf and all the ski resorts and everything is increasing, chemical use in the catchment started increasing just like anything. So fertilizers, pesticide, oil, sewage, everything now started ending up in water. And what happens initially when the scale is very low, no one realizes. Like if you go in uh, upstream of Mutha, where the villages like Vegre are there, there could be just one little wadi with 10, 15 villages or 10, 15 houses. So they don't bother about sewage treatment. So whatever is there, that much is, so river has that capacity to treat pollution at a certain volume. But the moment that volume increases, obviously river loses her capacity to treat that beyond a certain, that is called as carrying capacity of the river. So precisely the same thing happened there. So right from 1600 probably, if you look at the history of New York water supply, till 1989, everything was really fine. 1989, what happened? That time EPA was established, like Environmental Protection Agency. Many of you might know that Environmental Protection Agency is a very important agency in US, and they maybe manage their, or the environmental management within US is done quite a bit by them. So in 1991, there was some kind of microbe which was traced in these rivers. Hmm? And then this EPA suggested, now we don't have any choice, but moment you have something like this, which is microbe, which is making people ill, now we need to have a filtration plant. And filtration plant was costing $8 billion. So it was a huge amount to have the filtration plant. Then that time there was this one environmentalist come journalist, Robert F. Kennedy. So it's from Kennedy family. He was actually son of late Senator Kennedy. So he suggested that he would offer some kind of alternative, and if at all is given ample time, he can prove it to the government that you need no need to have filtration plant. But he offered them to spend just maybe $1.5 billion and get back to the original system of nature, revive nature services, and he would have like assured the means water supply without filtration plant. So obviously no one of the government or politicians were really ready to listen to them, because real answer to ensure the water quality was to basically stop development upstream in the catchment. But anyway, so what he did was he involved media. He led TV crews to one hospital which was there in Croton, where the hospital waste and sewage was flowing into the reservoirs, and it was a Croton reservoir. So immediately then these government officers, what they did was they closed that particular reservoir for few days, and they said, no, there is some kind of organic material. So citizens need not worry about it, and we are working on it. But anyway, so this Robert Kennedy, he kept on working about it. He kept on talking to media, and obviously politicians suggesting this filtration plant were absolutely like all indentured servants of to the real estate industry, because they were also owning land in upstream for development. So anyway, so he created many awareness drives, and he made maybe posters on the walls and interviews, and through that ultimately he took 3 years to convince EPA administrator that and he means they granted him a permission to just prove this within few months that this river can be protected from contaminants. And then after he got grant the permission, here comes the real proposal that he put forth next to this New York government. And what that proposal was really wonderful. So in that, obviously no construction, no paving, treat sewage, no pesticides. But the way he proposed to spend this $2 billion is really wonderful. So of which he suggested that $1.5 billion should be spent in buying lands, so almost 3.5 lakh acres of land he proposed to buy. And maybe, of course, some part of it also he proposed to maybe put in construction and repair of septic systems, because many of them are not working. If you go in remote areas, this system may not work. So he suggested that 35 million just to help upstate farmers to limit pollution. And wonderful incentives he proposed, like say if at all you are keeping stream side buffer of 200 feet in your farm, you would be given maybe $100 per year. So just like that, if you put that particular maybe belt, then 260 million just to buy land as buffers. This is really, I thought feel really nice that who buys riparian zone just as a buffer to protect a river, but that is what he proposed. Then another 140 million to pay local government and businesses in this 35 mini watersheds, because if you know, there is a big catchment of a river and there are many mini watersheds, means which supply water to this reservoir through many streams. So obviously in this 35 watershed, he proposed to pay local government and businesses, so that from whose land it was supplying the natural water filtration. There could be one slope which is owned by some farmer or any even a urban citizen, and because of that forest, maybe filtration is offered to the river. So obviously again it's like an incentive. And lastly, he proposed to keep $100 million as future funds. Again, quite a vision. Instead of spending all the money one go, you as well keep some kind of money for future. And after doing this, obviously no one was really ready to accept this so easily. So all upstate residents and politicians were like super upset that time, and media and newspaper were literally displaying the cartoons portraying city officials putting the diapers on cow, as if mazak uda rahe the ki this is just not possible. You can't really avoid filtration because there is so much of sewage and so much of pollution going into the river. But that's what his confidence was. The moment you have some kind of ecological services, and if you protect the river in a certain way, you can use habitats to filter the pollution. And that's precisely what we learn in ecology, right? Means he proposed that. And maybe, so thanks whatever to the New York City and Water Supply Board, and as well as EPA, they agreed to that. And efforts spared. So this also took quite many years. And finally, in 2000, 1997, sorry, 1993, he started all this, and in 1997, they agreed to this, and they worked in 60 towns, 10 villages, 7 counties, and with several environmental organizations. Ultimately, they decided to limit the growth in watershed, buy the lands, and of course, offers incentive to farmers. And there was obviously huge outcry. I mean, there are like many Republican Party activists. There was this activist named Ed Hillen. So he had to say that, and he was owning 10,000 acres, by the way, in Catskill Reservoir. So he said this conservation is really unrealistic and unreasonable and very much un-American. He used to just write in the newspaper, and as a maybe answer to that, this Robert Kennedy, who all the time was, writing his articles in newspaper, and what he said was like, be it phosphorus or pollution from vehicles or acid rain, forest is the only answer. And that's what he could do. And that's what ultimately New York government also agreed to this. They followed the plan. And lastly, they issued a legal document. It is still there. So whenever I actually talk about this case study, I always go back to New York's city government's website and check it, whether it is still exists. So yeah, so it is still there. So it is called as FAD, FAD, filtration avoidance determinants. So it is, so cities determined to avoid filtration. And so I'm sure the population has increased after that, but at least half of the city is drinking the water from Catskill and Delaware. Even today, if you look at Google Earth and just zoom in into Catskill and Delaware, they are quite forested slopes are there. So obviously the answer is, if you protect your watersheds, if you protect the slopes, if you protect the riparian zone, its habitat, river definitely has a capacity to filter the water, and you need not have a filtration plant. Yeah. So can we imagine our drinking Mutha river water without any filtration? So yeah, it's scary, right? Jaideep, you can. Why not?
Someday we wish to.
Yeah, someday we wish to.
Oh, the Jaideep and Shaila Jatai and many people have tried that. You saw that in that Gotala song, right?
Yes. So yeah, so that's a really wonderful case study. So I actually picked it up from one of the book named The New Economy of Nature, written by two wonderful women from US, Gretchen Daly and Catherine Ellison. So there are many other case studies as well, but this is something that which is right there in New York. Yeah, so I think I'll stop here. Thank you so much. If you have any questions, I think I can answer happily. Or even comments, maybe, if you don't have any questions. Yeah, Jaideep, please.
So is there a metric to say that so many million liters of sewage is the capacity of a river to naturally handle without sewage treatment?
So I never come across any such number. Yeah, no. But normally they say that for a maybe smaller village, if river flows for 35 kilometers, means you need that much patch for river to clean the water.
Hmm.
So if you are putting sewage in one end, of what quantity is not sure. After 35 kilometers, it's a clean water.
Hmm.
Yes, Sandhya, you have asked that, is this still ongoing? Yeah, the natural filtration. Yes, so that's what I'm saying, no? I always check this filtration avoidance determinants on that website. It's still there. And it is updated in 2022. There. We are protecting Pulachiwadi, Chinese and dosa. Right.
Ricky, what's the book, The New Economy of Rivers about?
The New Economy of Nature, it is.
Nature, sorry, yeah.
Yeah. Anything else you wish to ask?
What is that book about?
So
I mean, I'm looking.
book is about it. Actually, both these women, they have done wonderful job of maybe collating various successful case studies of conservation, and which are economically benefiting. So this is like a nature service. So this Gretchen Daly is a author. She has written another book, Nature Services. So she has worked a lot on nature services. So this is a nature service, right? That the city board has used to filter the water.
You think it can work for like our population density, because our density and the density in US is really different.
Yes, it can, but it will just take a long time. And till the time we,
I think New York's population is much more similar to Pune city's
No, no,
population, if
no,
you
no.
say.
It's
No,
it's
it's
not
not.
about New York's population. It's about the upstream population, the catchment area.
Upstream. Okay, okay.
Right? Upstate New York is not that thickly populated.
Okay.
Whereas
Not
our
population, I think
upstreams,
could be more than Pune, I'm sure. Right?
sorry, which one?
New York's population could
New
be
York, yeah, New York could be like Pune.
more than Pune.
Yeah, could be, but it's about the catchment area, right? The upstate New York is not thickly
Exactly.
populated.
Yes, but we do have enough catchment, no doubt. So the water entering Pune definitely can be very clean. But right now, our problem is within city, we are putting up too much of sewage.
Exiting the water that
So over
exits
there,
Pune.
the problem
Yeah.
was otherwise, that whatever water was coming in New York was polluted already. But here,
And what goes out of New York anyway goes in the sea, right?
yeah, it's
So they don't have that
yeah, but
issue.
that's really wonderful. Today morning only I was reading about their the way they test their water. So they have 1,000 testing locations, and they do it every day. So it's, oh my God, I felt wow. So and then that's how they assure the water quality check. So 1,000 locations. I don't know where those are, but they have like written on their website. And
Hi,
then they have,
Kirti, this is Pankaj.
yes, Pankaj.
So, if we have to refer to this case study, how do we refer to it online? Where do we go for that?
I'm not sure. I have like read it in that book, as I said.
Oh, the book you just mentioned.
So maybe
So if you go to FAD, actually it's directly available. They also have some videos also, very good videos for the tours which they take it for the Catskill and Delaware. You will find lot of information on the website about the FAD.
The FAD website, FAD.
So
FAD, yes.
FAD is like that document.
It's a document, but if you just type out Google, search it, FAD, New York, you get ample of material over there.
And even if you type just New York City water supply,
Yes, that also. Yes.
good numbers. Yes,
Yeah, just
So,
1 minute. There is an interesting question here about buying land from land in riparian zone.
mm-hmm.
Do you see that?
Just a minute.
Okay, let me read it.
Okay, it will be nice.
Here in Pune, is anyone allowed to buy riparian zones?
Oh, so not sure, because many times in our case in India, means stream side and river side land is that way owned by government, right? If I'm not wrong, yeah.
So I'll just add
Or
to that,
irrigation
because I had if you don't mind, I'll just add to that. I had a meeting with some PMC officials, and so what happens is, particularly in the Koregaon Park, Kalyani Nagar area, the stretch next to the river was historically owned by a lot of individual owners. They were not allowed to build, so they gained TDR rights, transferable development rights, elsewhere, but they haven't transferred over the lands to the government, and the government is inactive in actually seizing control of those lands. So it's and then all kinds of elements start encroaching on it, filling land and all of that. So to answer your question, yes, we historically at least people have owned it. The government should be taking control of it, but it's, kind of nobody's baby right now. They've gotten benefits, so just the encroachers are taking over.
No, can I just elaborate this? Because usually the rule is, though PMC is supposed to, there are two functions. Water Resource Department actually owns all the water resources, as it is named. Water Resource Department, or Sinchan Bhavan, owns all the rivers and dams, ideally.
Right.
And it is the way the water gets released or supplied to that city or a village or a town. You are supposed to treat that water when it gets out of your city. So that is a mandate by state water resource department given to either municipal councils or Pune Municipal Corporation or PCMC. Which they do not follow. Point one. Secondly, it is also the regulatory authority which is there, which is MPCB, Maharashtra Pollution Control Board, actually is supposed to monitor the water quality parameters, and but again, they do not have authority to put PMC or any urban local body under pressure to give the treatment, other than you paying fines or issuing letters or notices. There is no mechanism where actual implementation or blocking of the water supply. Why can't water resource department block the water supply to Pune city if they are polluting the rivers?
Right.
But
And-
that authority, government doesn't give to water resource department. That is a complex situation.
Yeah, so interesting. Means actually means these are the cases where I think amendment in laws can be suggested.
Correct. Yeah, that's correct.
So that someone else takes up the authority in a.
But they impose fines, right? I
They
guess they
impose
have imposed fine on PMC. So, the way we think in India is that if you pay the fine, which I don't know whether they pay also, but if you pay this fine, then it is okay to pollute and really make a gutter out of it.
Yeah, because fine normally is so meager that instead of taking sewage far off, it could be maybe little expensive.
Yeah, and anyway, we do not know whether they are paying also, because it's from one government department to another department, right? Or no, maybe PMC has to pay to the irrigation department. So we don't know whether
PMC has to pay to both, because MPCB also deals with the environment department of the state. Maharashtra Pollution Control Board is under the control. So they also issue fine on polluting the water body, and water resource department also issues fine to the urban local bodies because they are not releasing the water as per the quality standards mentioned by water resource department, which is supplied to the downstream people. So both are putting fine, MPCB as well as water resource department. And it is going from our own pockets. And we are not raising voices.
Yeah.
So is there, Shailajatai, is there a way to make these fines like much higher? Because what we've seen in Kalyani Nagar is, I'm sure everybody knows that this person who's trying to reclaim the Nala, every time that they give him fine, it's just about 2,000-3,000 rupees or something like that, very meager. And he pays those and he still continues to, pollute the river. And so it's not a big enough fine.
I think now it has to go through NGT only, unless and until there is a legal case which has been put up against the polluter, then only. And MPCB and Water Resource Department, they are actually charging heavy fines to Pune Municipal Corporation and PCMC. But we don't know whether actually it is being paid by PMC or PCMC. We have no knowledge about it. Means it's not that transparent as it looks like.
I think sometime we should get some government officer on this platform and ask him all
Yes.
questions. I think.
Correct.
So maybe, I don't know, we can start with.
That's a very good idea. Yes.
Because they would know it, right? Means what kind of procedures they follow.
Absolutely.
Supposed to follow at least. Means
Correct.
we can do.
Mukta's hand has been raised for a while.
Ha, Mukta, yeah, please.
येस, मला असं विचारायचं होतं की या प्रोसेसमध्ये जे वॉटर फिल्टर होते नॅचरली ते द pollutants may be transferring to the nearby soil or even some nearby plants or the plantation areas. So are we supposed to keep on checking soil and plant samples as well for
Sir,
the biomagnification? Or
हा म्हणजे काय असतं बऱ्याचदा ते ऍडसॉर्ब होतात हे पोल्युटंट जे असतात ना. इफ यू लुक ॲट द वेटलँड्स फिनॉमिनॉन, तर ते फंक्शनिंग असं होतं की दे कीप ऑन ऍडसॉर्बिंग ऑन सर्टन सॉइल. तर तसं होत असेल या. सो म्हणजे पण ऑब्व्हियसली पाणी घातक नसतं प्यायला.
Yes.
And if you know, whatever botanical or biological treatment systems that even we used to design actually. So in that we used to do the same thing actually, copy the wetland function.
Yes, phytoremediation type.
Phytoremediation. So te hoto.
Yes.
And
So
you can actually get almost bathing quality water, if not drinking, surely.
okay.
So yeah, that is possible.
Thank you.
I think Nishad has one question here. 1 second.
Yeah, Nisha, you wish to ask?
Nishad.
Nishad.
Where does the pollution in sub-catchment go in this case? Okay, I think it's answered. Soil, small streams, finally the river.
Yes. And obviously what happens means if you know the river ecology, actually there is one of my lecture on YouTube. So it's a like 1 hour lecture. So how different habitats actually help purify water. So there is oxygen mixing, there are like grassy island, there is riparian zone, there are pools and maybe eddies get formed and waves are there, turbulence is there. So due to all these habitats, more and more oxygen get mixed. Many plants absorb these pollutants, and due to which water quality improves. So yeah, so if at all you have an intact riverine ecosystem, uh, you are able to treat the water. And that's why precisely if you go in upstream in Western Ghats, and if at all you are doing some trek, it's very, all trekkers easily drink the water from the streams. Just because it is absolutely like pure.
Ketaki, Pritesh here.
Yes, Pritesh.
Hi. So, just wanted to know if there are more examples around the world that we can read about which have followed something similar.
So yeah, so whatever examples that I know are from the same book.
Okay.
So there is one Napa Valley from California, which are famous for winemaking. So they also had this river flowing through the city, and they had built a big road. They had completely avoided the river, having buildings and construction over the river.
Okay.
Now they have like removed the entire construction and restored the river channel. So that's also like wonderful case study that immediately comes to my mind. But there are many. There is one in Austria. There is one in Singapore. So everywhere, like people have earlier channelized the river, and now they are removing the channels and letting the river flow freely.
Okay.
म्हणजे आपल्याकडेच हे होत नाही, आपल्याकडे उलट होतंय. म्हणजे आपल्याकडे मुक्त वाहिनी नद्या ठेवतच नाहीयेत आता, आणि त्यांच्याकडे ज्या डॅम नद्या आहेत त्या आता ते मुक्त करू इच्छित आहेत आणि आपण मुक्त करतोय.
आपल्याकडे आपण आधी आपण चॅनलाइज करायचं आणि मग त्यांनी काढलंय म्हणून पुन्हा चॅनलाइज म्हणजे मुक्त करायचं, पुन्हा कॉन्ट्रॅक्ट काढायचं.
हो ना, मग ते सारखं आम्ही म्हणत असतो की पुढच्याच ठेस मागचा शहाणा, असं काही होतच नाहीये. म्हणजे आपण
आपल्याला डबल कॉन्ट्रॅक्ट काढायचं ना. आपण
त्याला केन्झियन इकॉनॉमिक्स म्हणतात, dig a hole and then fill the hole. So by the way, if I can take a stab at Pritesh, you asked what other, so not necessarily the filtration that was done on Hudson, but on the group, on the text chat, I've put 2-3 other organizations which are quite like Pune River Revival Group. One is FOLR, which is Friends of LA River. They are also trying to do conservation, revive the riparian zone. Similarly, on the East Coast, just like Hudson, a little up north is My RWA, which is the Charles River and the Mystic River. So all these organizations, we should try to see the best practices that they've adopted, and they've been struggling. They have some of the best of brains, like Harvard, MIT is where Charles River is. So my RWA is from there. Fowler is where UCLA, UCSD students and professors and all these ecologists from Scripps Institute are involved in reviving these rivers. So perhaps we can learn. And of course, Riverkeeper is the organization that Robert Kennedy stewarded for 33 years. So that website also I've shared. So I think we need to study what these organizations did. And of course, Amit has shared the website for Pune River Revival. So you should see there's a whole lot of material. Ketki's Oikos has put out an eco RFD plan that's also uploaded on Pune River Revival website. So we should look at that.
Definitely. I've noted all of these examples. I'll study. Thank you.
Prajakta, can I take 1 minute and make an appeal?
Sure, you can go ahead with the appeal, and if there are no more questions, that we can also conclude the webinar.
Okay, so I want to say, so particularly Robert F. Kennedy is Jr., he's now a politician, he's a political candidate for the presidential elections. I assume none of us can vote for him here for all the good work did, and we are done voting here. So all the, things that were easy enough we could have done, we can't do. But there's one easy thing you can do today, which is give for the rivers. Please donate some money that can help Pune River Revival Group. Of course, as Ketki suggested, maybe go buy riparian land and just protect it. But this is by far the most easiest thing we can do, is donate generously to Pune River Revival. There's a lot of expenses that are involved. We do river recce, the transportation, the volunteers cost, all of it is borne. Practically everything is borne by volunteers. Many of them are here on this group. They wouldn't like me to call out their names because they give anonymously. My request is, water testing takes time, transport takes money. So if you and those of you who can't donate, at least please reach out to me and say, hey, if there's a future direct expense for something, please enroll me and I will reach out to you when there is a specific expense. But some of you who can donate today should try and make a mental note that, hey, I'll get this done by today evening. Because the thing about donation is we commit, अरे द्यायला पाहिजे, खूप चांगलं काम करतात हे लोक, खूप यांनी आवर्जून सांगितलं आणि मग विसरून जातो, रात गई बात गई. Please don't do that. Please note it in your diary. I've shared this on the website. Hopefully Prajakta will leave this on just for a few minutes for people to grab that. I particularly find that's the easiest thing for me to do. I just cannot go for river cleanups. It's just very depressing. So maybe you can take cue from that.
And every rupee counts, right? Every rupee counts. And if you can't do it yourself, try and get it from someone else and see if they would be willing to give.
Jaideep, is there a Paytm ID to that?
Unfortunately, this is a very, the funding, this program is stewarded by Jeevit Nadi, which is a very low, and this is the beauty of this, right? It's completely volunteer driven. So we don't have even a UPI ID. That's how, just scrappy we are. So, yeah. But, the good news is once you add it, you can be a lifetime giver.
Okay. And yeah, I understand that. What I mean to say, another thing, that do we get to know the activities that are happening?
So absolutely. So yeah. So I can name a few, and then if
no, not here. Maybe is there a group or something? Then that's where it. Because I get it as to certain groups like that, and so you get to know what's happening.
Yeah.
Then that helps to understand.
Many on the website also. Our previous activities are there, articles are there, and most of our events and activities we have created YouTube videos. So you can see that on our YouTube channel also. You will see cleanup drives, you will see other awareness programs, and lot other things that were done. I think the water testing results are there on our website. So there is a lot of material there. You could also follow us on Instagram and Facebook, so you can get regular updates. Of course, there is this WhatsApp group that is put in the chat box, but some people think that there are too many WhatsApp messages. So that's why I'm telling you other options like Twitter and Instagram and Facebook, where you'll get our regular updates.
Yeah, and just next now 2 Wednesdays. I think Manasi is going to talk once, and then again I'll talk about. So whatever case studies that we have, and we have been working again, everything is upstream. Because most of our projects are there in Western Ghats. I think next 2 Wednesdays we'll also bring you some more stories.
Yeah, really looking forward to that.
Thanks, Ketki.
Yeah, it was pleasure.
Right.
Thank
So,
you, Kate.
Deep, you want to conclude? काही काहीतरी प्रश्न आहे का?
Sandhya has a-
राजजी?
Sandhya, you have any question?
No, I think she's giving, applause.
Yay.
So please feel free to reach out to me, and if I can serve as a bridge, either to Pune River Revival, Jeevit Nadi, Oikos, Ecological Society. These people are all doing good work, and of course, please try to give. And if not now, just make a commitment that hey, I will help specifically if some other expense comes out. So can we conclude with this thought?
Sure.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, bye.
Thank-
Good night.
Good
Thank
night.
you.
very much. Thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Again, see you again next Wednesday. Come back.
Thanks.
Bye.
Thank you so much.